Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. The U.S. Soccer Federation has hired Mauricio Pochettino as the U.S. men's national team coach, the man that will replace Evil Baldman that got fired July 10th of 2024. We are so back. We are back. We have hired Mauricio Pochettino. Understand, we should all be happy. We should all be excited. I'm going to try to be as rational as possible about this. In this stream today, we're going to rate this transfer, sorry, not transfer, this hiring, which I think is really good, a very good hire. We'll talk about it in a second. We're also going to go through a little bit of his career and why I think it's a good hire, because you're going to hear a lot of Chelsea fans saying he's horrible, he's not good. Look, no disrespect to Chelsea fans. There's probably a few of them in the chat right now, but it's not a fan base that's known for its rationality. Sure, it wasn't perfect at Chelsea, but we're going to talk about what he did good, what he did bad, and maybe why it didn't work out at Chelsea. And then next week, I will do a video. I need to do some more research and think about this more of how Mauricio Pochettino will set up this team, the starting 11, and how he will want us to play. I'm going to do a video on that next week. But today, let's talk about the breaking news. Let's go through the pros and the cons and understand Mauricio Pochettino is absolutely not a guarantee to be success, right? This doesn't guarantee the U.S. men's national team will be successful. It'll be amazing, but this is a fantastic hire. Like, saying or hating on this hire is complete nonsense. It's an A+ hire. Obviously, he will get judged upon the results, the performances, how this team plays. But think about it for a second. Out of all the realistic candidates, which we can go through, Hervé Renard, Pellegrino Materazzo, Patrick Vieira, this was the best candidate. Unless you were convinced we were going to get Jurgen Klopp, this is a good hire. Okay. And this is a good take right here, saying, can we say it's a guarantee and improvement? Yes, we will see a lot of improvement from the Berhalter era, but it's not guaranteed success. Okay, we're going to talk about this quite a bit, and this is a great hire. Mauricio Pochettino agrees U.S. men's national team head coaching job. And let's put it like this. I want to give a shout out to a special account on Twitter, Andrew. And some people are going to say, who the heck is Andrew? Well, it's this profile with Matthew Hoppy on it. And he broke the news yesterday at 7:30. He broke the news like roughly 1 hour before anyone did. Andrew, that has a Matthew Hoppy profile picture. I just want to give him a shout out because very often accounts that are not in media or that have a big following, or even like myself, honestly, we get questioned for any of our sources. And a lot of people thought he was trolling. Honestly, I was a little bit skeptical too, even though he did also break early the news of Berhalter being fired. But I want to give him a shout out. Okay, I want to give Andrew a shout out. I think he deserves it. And then last but not least, I want to also give Tim Weah a shout out. I want to give Tim Weah a shout out because think about it for a second. If Weah didn't sacrifice his reputation or risk his reputation by punching the Panamanian player and we somehow gotten out of our group, well, Berhalter would have still been there. And everyone, listen, I'm a little sick, but I don't know, man. I just feel hyped right now. I just feel hyped. I think this is a really good hire, and that's what I'm going to talk about. So again, let's just put it this way. The first take that I've seen about Mauricio Pochettino when he was announced, right, or announced by the media, leaked, is that a lot of people say he's a serial loser. He never won any trophies. Well, he did win trophies with PSG, right? But again, he won like Liga or the French Cup, things you would expect him to win with PSG. I think a very flawed method of judging if a player if a coach is successful is trophies. We're going to say ultimately that's what matters, right? Well, think about it for a second. What teams has Mauricio Pochettino coached? He coached Espanyol. And when he took over Espanyol many, many years ago, over a decade ago, he literally saved them from relegation. And then eventually he got fired, obviously, but he did a formidable job there with Espanyol. And eventually he landed a job with Southampton, which Southampton finished in 8th place in his first season. And ever since that 8th place finish, No one has done better with Southampton. Let's just make that clear. And that was what, 2013 maybe? I can double check here just to make sure I don't get the year wrong. But yeah, so Southampton, he was in charge 2013, 2014. Okay. 8th place in the Prem, and no coach has done better since. Southampton. And then you're going to say, he didn't win trophies with Southampton. It's like, oh, no shit. Would Pep win trophies with Southampton? I don't know. Probably not. Listen, it's like winning trophies depends on the team you have, right? You got to judge based on the teams that he worked with, whether or not he did a good job. Okay. And then going on, he took over Tottenham. And then let's put one thing here on screen real quick, because I want to talk about this. First and foremost, anyone that brings up he didn't win trophies with Tottenham, who wins trophies with Tottenham? Who does? No one does. No one does. But anyhow, let's look at this. In the 2016-2017 season, he got 86 points in the Premier League with Tottenham. 86 points. 86. That is a campaign that can win you a trophy, right? So this season, Man City, like lately, teams have been getting 91 points, 89, like Man City, but like 86 points is one heck of a campaign. If you go back like to 2015, Leicester won with 81. So 86 points would have given them the title. In the 2017-2018 season, Man City got 100 points, which was insane. But again, 86 points with Tottenham is a remarkable campaign. And again, it's Tottenham. It's a campaign that you could have won the trophy. Now, Chelsea got 93 points that season, so they ended up winning the Premier League, and props to Chelsea. But again, he also made it to a Champions League final with Tottenham. Like sure, you can judge this guy and say he's not as good as Klopp. He's not Pep Guardiola. But this is a good coach, especially for U.S. men's national team standards, right? Especially for U.S. men's national team standards. Let's be real. But moving on here, the other thing that people are going to bring up is Chelsea, his time with Chelsea. And let me put up last season in the Premier League. Chelsea finished in 6th place in the Prem. 6th place in the Prem. And let me go through the 3 super chats here, and I'll be back to talking about his time with Chelsea last season, which a lot of the Chelsea fans call it a failure. Some of them were like, he did fine. I'm going to talk about what he came in to fix, what he fixed, and what were the issues with his Chelsea. I did follow Chelsea a bit here and there, more like hate watching Chelsea. But let's talk about this. Moises saying, Tack, how about Gregg Berhalter as an assistant? No, keep Berhalter as far as possible from the U.S. men's national team. Some team from MLS could go employ Gregg Berhalter, keep him in MLS, go to San Diego. Atlanta needs a coach. Take Gregg Berhalter to Atlanta. Just get him the heck away from the national team. Mr. Mister saying, don't judge him from his Chelsea days. They're an absolute a mess of a club right now. I know a bunch of Chelsea fans that were quite sad to see him go. Look, we're going to judge him based off his Chelsea days. I don't think his Chelsea days were that bad. And if he was given more time, he left Chelsea because he had a disagreement with some higher ups, right? He wasn't fired because his job was horrible. He got Chelsea in 12th place and he finished in 6th. That's improvement. Chelsea has sucked with a lot of coaches ever since like the Roman Abramovich left, ever since Todd Bowley took over. Tuchel failed after that. Graham Potter failed after that. And he was doing good with Brighton. Pochettino did the best job out of those, right? He made it to the Carabao Cup final and lost to Liverpool. He tried to take it to penalties, extra time, whatever. I know the approach, the defensive approach, wasn't what Chelsea fans wanted to see, but that was the game plan. That was the game plan. Rangav 248 saying, I can't believe he got fired after only a year. Why? You mean Pochettino with Chelsea? He got fired with less than a year with Chelsea, and it was because he had disagreements. I think I don't know the details, but he had disagreements with the direction of the club, with the higher ups. And the higher ups wanted a young, progressive coach willing to buy into their idea, while Pochettino had his method and how he wanted to play, and certain things that he didn't agree with, and that's why he left. He parted ways with them. Arnold Maldonado saying, hey, Filippo, any concerns with Mauricio Pochettino's lack of coaching with national teams? Arnold, that's definitely a concern, right? Because I mean, the guy doesn't have a proven track record as a national team coach, but he played for the Argentine national team, so he does understand what a national team environment is. I think he's a very smart soccer mind, so he will adapt and understand what has to be done. There's obviously some concern because we haven't seen that, but I mean, it's kind of like one of those when you graduate from college and then you want to get a job, and then it's like, hey, entry level job needs 5 years of experience. How do you get the experience if no one gives you a chance? And I understand you're going to say, well, why are we giving him a chance? We should have gotten someone that has a proven track record with the national team. But this is the most qualified coach the U.S. men's national team has ever had. If you can get Mauricio Pochettino, especially for the U.S. men's national team, which I talked about, this is not the most attractive coaching job in the world. Like, club is where the coaches want to be. If you can get him, you get him, and we got him. So there's definitely reasons to be concerned there. I don't think that's hate. I don't think that's someone that's being paranoid, but I'm willing to overlook it because of all the other positives. And Ross Brenner is saying, at the very least, we'll see tactical flexibility, exciting soccer. More importantly, he's the coach that commands locker room respect. So why don't we talk about that? Why don't we talk about that for a second before I move on to the other super chats? And anyone that just tuned in, make sure to drop a like. So Mauricio Pochettino. When he took over Chelsea, the biggest thing or biggest complaint I was seeing with Chelsea is that they were struggling against low blocks and they couldn't score. Well, guess what? When he took over, they were able to start breaking low blocks. They were scoring a lot under Mauricio Pochettino. Chelsea's offense got way better. Before he took over, there was a big issue where Chelsea was just crossing, not just from the eye test perspective, but from a statistical standpoint, you could see that they were cross merchants and just cross, pray to Jesus Christ and hope for the best. They were just Christianity ball, essentially, just cross, which reminds us a lot of, what I have here on my t-shirt, Berhalter ball. When he was hired, I think one of the biggest successes with him, Cole Palmer, great player, and he definitely thrived under Mauricio Pochettino. Cole Palmer, he understood that you can't, well, he doesn't understood. He knows that you can't just cross. Crossing is fine with soccer, but he understood you had to also play through the middle. So he would have sometimes, even Palmer would play wide and tuck inside, play as a 10. Personally, I didn't like when he played Conor Gallagher as a 10 specifically, more of a pressing 10. To me, he's a Red Bull hustle merchant. I'm not a big fan of Conor Gallagher unless you played him in a double pivot, in a more defensive role, more roaming role, more box-to-box role, rather than the creator. But he understood that creativity had to come through the middle, which was one of the big things we criticized about Gregg Berhalter with the lack of Gio Reyna or even Tillman playing as a 10. I think with Pochettino, we're going to see a U.S. men's national team that is far more dynamic in terms of where the shot creation comes from, through the middle, through the sides, through the flanks. Now, understand that Pochettino also loves to press. I'm not against pressing as long as it's done correctly and it's not relentless pressing and like Jesse Marsh is very whatever. Like, I'm not a big fan of that, but that can work, especially when you're trying to pull some upsets at times. He will do a lot of pressing. We saw a lot of 4-2-3-1s with Pochettino, which I think will work for the U.S. men's national team. I always thought the U.S. men's national team would be better if we played a double pivot and a 10. Who will be that 10 with him? I would hope Gio Reyna. I think Johnny will also have a much more prominent role under Mauricio Pochettino. He's also a coach that won't take bullshit. But anyhow, look, like I said, I talked about the good with Chelsea, right? The good with Chelsea. He definitely improved their offense a lot. They became more dynamic. They became much better. Now, there were some issues up top with Chelsea, which were more individual mistakes and, players' egos and bullshit like that. We'll talk about Jackson. We can talk about a lot of them right there. But I thought he was really good in terms of improving Chelsea's offense. The problem with Pochettino with Chelsea was obviously the clash with the higher ups that ultimately led to him leaving, right? But this team had no defensive structure. They leaked a lot of goals. They looked like a Swiss cheese defense at times. It just didn't look good. Now, there were definitely some mistakes from the players. There were also moments of brilliances from the players that would bail out Pochettino. But at the end of the day, this team had no defensive structure. And that's a big issue and a big concern, especially if you're going to take charge of the U.S. men's national team, because if we're going to play in a World Cup, there are many teams that are better than us, and we need to have a good defensive structure. In the past, Pochettino has had that. So I think if we had more time with Chelsea, maybe that would have been fixed. He definitely fixed their offense. They got a lot better under Pochettino. That is not debatable from the eye test, and if you look at the advanced analytics. Okay. Now, next week, I'm going to do a video talking about how I think he's going to set up the U.S. men's national team. I need to do a bit more research on that just to make sure I'm as accurate as it gets. So we'll do a video on that next week. Today, I want to talk about the overall hiring of Mauricio Pochettino and what it means for the U.S. men's national team. Now, you may be asking, what other concerns do you have for him as the national team coach? He's a coach that really likes to play out of the back. I've seen this multiple times. I hope that he would adjust with the national team, right? We don't have goalkeepers that are good at their feet unless we get Diego Cochin, but Diego Cochin is too young. He's an 18-year-old goalkeeper. He's a backup at Barcelona. We don't even know if he'll play for the national team. I don't think the U.S. men's national team is well suited to play out of the back, right? I do like how dynamic Chelsea's offense became under Pochettino, how they were able to create goal-scoring opportunities in other ways outside of just like crossing, how his press works. All of that is fine, and that would work with the national team very well if given time to implement the way he wants us to play. But with the national team, what I'm envisioning with the U.S. men's national team here with Mauricio Pochettino is that when we play those minnows from CONCACAF, the teams that Berhalter struggled to break a low block, I think under Mauricio Pochettino, his 4-2-3-1 formation, his system, his press, how he likes to create shots through the middle, through the side. He likes to have the wingers sometimes tuck in so they can combine through the middle. Also use width and crossing. Crossing is fine. I think we will dominate more CONCACAF with Mauricio Pochettino. We'll be able to break these low blocks with some comfort. It'll look a lot better. We will look a lot better against these teams. But my big concern with him is this. When we play better teams, will he adjust? We've seen teams from Pochettino that can play in transition. He can play in transition. But will he adapt? Because to me, the United States is at its best when we play a superior team in transition. I don't think we don't have world-class players because, again, breaking low blocks also requires world-class players, elite players, tactical organizations, good chemistry. We don't have world-class players. We have a lot of talented elite players, great players, fantastic players. I just want to see how we play in transition. I want to see us under Pochettino against a superior opponent like a Argentina, Colombia, Brazil, France, Germany, England, and see how we behave in transition, how he adapts. Okay. In terms of playing CONCACAF minnows, I think we're going to do better than ever. He showed with Chelsea that he can break low blocks. He's done it multiple times. That's not a big concern. He's also very good with young players. We know that for a fact from the Southampton days, Tottenham days. I mean, he made Dele Alli look like a fucking world-class prospect. And that didn't turn out too good after. And even when he was fired at Tottenham, that they were struggling early in the season, Mourinho came in after and he didn't do better. Right? He was fantastic with Tottenham, Pochettino. So once again, if you had to rate this hiring right now from 1 to 10 right now, what would you rate this hiring? And if you're rewatching this video, drop it in the comment section down below and drop a like also. Look, as I said before, hiring Mauricio Pochettino is not a guaranteed success. But the concept of this hiring, to me, is a 10 out of 10. I'm going to say it once again. Unless you thought we could get Jurgen Klopp, which I didn't think was realistic, to me, this is a 10 out of 10. Like, this is a fantastic hire. Now, it could flop. It could go badly. And ultimately, he's going to get judged upon his results, how this team plays, and what he gets in the World Cup. That's what he's going to be judged on. We could go in 2026 and completely flop under him and say, this guy was shit. This guy was poop. But ultimately, with the data that we have right now, this is a 10 out of 10. This is probably the best that U.S. Soccer could have done. And listen, I'm no Federation shill. And listen, Matt Crocker, props to you for hiring Mauricio Pochettino. But again, you were just fixing your mistake because you were part of the hiring process that hired back Gregg Berhalter. So again, props to the Federation for fixing their mistake. I'm not going to overhype the fact that they hired Mauricio Pochettino. They fixed their mistakes, and props to them for that. But this is a 10 out of 10 hire. I know some people are saying no international experience. I know, but Samuel, I'm going to go back to the super chats in a second. I agree with your concern, Samuel. It makes total sense. It's not an insane take. You're not a hater for it. But at the same time, once again, is Hervé Renard definitely is more qualified from an international standpoint. But do you think that Hervé Renard would have been a better hire? Mauricio Pochettino is far more qualified. He also has experience with big egos from PSG. He worked with Neymar, Mbappe. Well, Messi's not a big ego in my opinion. Or maybe he is, but Mbappe and Neymar. He will not tolerate bullshit from these players. He will not tolerate an overweight Weston McKennie in camp. And again, I want Weston to be in shape because he is one of our most important players. But again, he's not going to tolerate bullshit from anyone. He will be in charge. Not Pulisic, not Adams, not Weston, not Turner. Pochettino will be in charge. And that is crucial. And Ross is saying at least we'll have tactical flexibility, exciting soccer. More importantly, has a coach that commands respect. I think commands respect in the locker room is key here. This is very important for this hiring of Mauricio Pochettino. Very important. He commands respect. He'll bring respect to the locker room. Like I said, he won't tolerate bullshit from the players like we did during Copa America. Like, look, I know I made the joke about propping Tim Weah. If it wasn't for him, Berhalter wouldn't have been fired. But for example, Tim Weah, if I'm the coach right there, after he punched the Panamanian player, I would not have let him stay in camp. It's like, dude, you're suspended for 2 games. We're likely out. We're going to try to go through. Weah, go home. Leave camp. You don't have to be here. Think about what you did. Maybe we'll have you back in the future. Again, you need to command respect. You have to be tough. And Berhalter wasn't tough. Stephen Agishi saying, I bet Emma Hayes played a role in recruiting him. Maybe. But Matt Crocker has a good relationship with Mauricio Pochettino from the Southampton days. Maybe Emma Hayes did. She did tremendous work for the U.S. women's national team. Great work. I really like Emma Hayes a lot. Like, really good coach, respectable coach, showed love for the United States of America, which once again, very often I just see people hating on the U.S., people hating our country for some reason. People from the U.S., like if you're from outside the U.S. and you hate America, that's fine. You do you. You might have your reasons. I mean, to be fair, we have given a lot of reasons to many countries to hate us. But if you're from the U.S., I don't get it. We're not a perfect country, but hating on the U.S. doesn't make much sense. And when Emma Hayes showed love for our country, to me, that was very emotional from my end too. Watching that video where you see Emma Hayes get emotional about winning an Olympic gold medal with the U.S. And again, she's British, right? She's from England. That to me was, it gave me goosebumps. And something Berhalter never gave me. Berhalter just gave me headaches and very high cortisol levels throughout his 5 years. And Emma Hayes in 1 month gave me goosebumps. I was happy for her, happy for the women's national team. Queen Nadra is saying, it's a good signing, but he's going to need a keeper to play with his feet. We'll see position-based football, high press. Yeah, Queen Nadra, I talked about this before. He likes to play out of the back. Hopefully he understands that you can't play out of the back with our goalkeepers right now. Hopefully he understands that, and he might have to go a little bit terrorist route 1 football for a little bit Brexit ball. Luis Villanueva saying, ole, 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 poche, poche. Yes, Pochettino, Luis, thank you. The ski saying, turns out Gregg Berhalter getting fired was his way of changing soccer in America forever. Maybe we needed that wake-up call. What's funny is we needed really Gregg Berhalter to wake us up. Before Berhalter, we had just failed to qualify for a World Cup. If that didn't wake us up, we still needed Berhalter to wake us up. But you know what they say? Sometimes it has to get really, really bad so people can wake up. T26, biggest get on the list. Lineup shakeups coming. Yes, there will be many lineup shakes. And T26, great YouTube channel there that started covering the U.S. men's national team, guys. By the way, I did go to his channel, so you guys can go check out that episode. It's out, T26. I do think, yes, lineups there will be a lineup shakeup, and I'll do a video on that next week. I'll try to break down next week how I think Mauricio Pochettino will line up the U.S. men's national team. Obviously, it's me projecting. I don't know what he's going to do. I never talked to the guy, but I'm just going to project based off previous work. And usually I get most of that accurate. So Tatum RFC saying Matt Crocker hiring Emma Hayes and Pochettino absolutely reeks of someone above him making the rehiring of Berhalter. Yeah, and I talked about this before on Twitter. The FBI and the CIA most certainly have to look into that U.S. men's national team coaching hire last year, the coaching hiring process. Because it's hard to believe that the guy that hired Emma Hayes, probably the best women's coach in the world, or up there, and Mauricio Pochettino, I wouldn't say the best coach in the world, but one of the best soccer coaches in the world. It's hard to believe that a guy that hired those two had just settled for Berhalter in 2023. There was something sketchy in that hiring process. I'm just gonna leave it on that. You guys can make up your own conspiracies right there, but there was something sketchy. How can the guy that hires Emma Hayes and Mauricio Pochettino have settled for Gregg Berhalter in 2023? Something is off. Something is off. The FBI and the CIA should look into this. Just saying. Just saying. Jeff Carey saying Poch is a sexy man. I love his eyes. Lovely. Jeff Pochettino, I'm sure he will say thank you for that. I don't think we hire a coach based off how lovely his eyes are or how sexy he is. Even Hervé Renard, it wasn't because he was sexy or anything. But yeah, I'm sure he loves the praise. Miguel Higuera saying all aboard the Pochettino. Okay, I see what you did there. Ghost Card 21 say morning tag. Just woke up in Cali. Pochettino time. Yes, Pochettino's confirmed to be the U.S. men's national team coach. Eldon is saying 10 out of 10. I agree. This is a 10 out of 10 hire. I told you, it's a 10 out of 10 hire. And he said, we just went from PowerPoints and office meeting box lunches to having an Argentine merchant debut in Kansas City. Aura off the charts. Well, look, I'm gonna end the stream in like 5 minutes, just kind of like breaking down all the positives of this in a very oversimplified manner. And Jeff Carey's saying, I'm bulging with excitement watching you get excited. Okay, Jeff. Okay. Hopefully you have your clothes on. Ravi saying Pochettino loves to play at 10, might be very good for Gio. I think so. That'll be very good for Gio and Tillman. They will get a lot of opportunities to succeed, and whoever plays better takes it. I think Gio's the better player, but Tillman will be coming for that spot. Chandler saying, would it take this over a Copa America semifinals? I think I agree with you. In that sense. Losing early in the Copa America and guaranteeing Mauricio Pochettino as the head coach, I think it's worth it. And when you talk about like, why is this a good hire? Let me talk about why this is a good hire once again. This is a coach that has coached massive clubs, Chelsea, PSG, Tottenham. I know some of you are going to say Tottenham's not a massive club. You have a point. Like, this is a team that doesn't win trophies, but this guy made it to a Champions League final with Tottenham. This guy got 86 points in the Prem with Tottenham. He had the best campaign Southampton has had since what, like 92 or something? 8th place in the Premier League. No one has done better ever since he left in 2014. No one has done better. Chelsea went from 12 to 6 with him. I would say out of these coaches in the Todd Boehly era, he was the one that did the best. And he left because there were issues. There were issues with the higher ups, right? He's an outsider. He's not going to take bullshit from the Federation, from Mr. Don Garber, MLS, our media. He's not going to take bullshit from the players either. There's not going to be a leadership council that freaking commands and tells the coach what to do. Like, in half-fit Tyler Adams is not starting. A 10-pound overweight Weston McKennie ain't starting. That ain't happening, man. That simply ain't happening under Mauricio Pochettino. Our offense will drastically improve under him. I hope he has a good defensive structure. That was something he was lacking with Chelsea. This is a good hire. I'm just going to say, you guys know. Let me close it at this. Over the years, I've been called USMNT hater, negative, overly negative, and all this and that. I'm not negative. I'm not a hater. It's just that with Gregg Berhalter, there was a lot to hate on. Ultimately, Pochettino will get judged upon his results and performances, but there's no reason to be negative about this hire. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. If you're a U.S. men's national team fan, you should be excited for this. This is exciting. This is an outsider that will command respect from the federation, from the players. This is a guy that has had success at the highest level, has had failures too, but has had success. This is the most qualified coach the U.S. men's national team has ever had, with the most talented players we've ever had in the most important World Cup in U.S. men's national team history. So you should be excited for this. I can't tell you what to do. I can't tell you what to feel, but coming from a guy that's a professional hater, I'm very excited for this. I think this is a tremendous hire. Like I said, I rated it a 10 out of 10. Next week, I will do a video breaking down how I think he will set up the U.S. men's national team and how I think we will play. If you are just tuning in, if you're watching this later, drop a like in the stream right now. Let's try to get to over 1,000 likes. It's a great way to support the channel. If you want to join our Patreon, the link is in the description. And make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. I'm trying to grow the Instagram account. So if you can follow us on Instagram, I would truly appreciate it. And Twitter, we're about to hit 69,000 followers. Very nice. Very nice. But everyone, it's time to be excited. I'm going to go through the last few super chats here before I end the stream. And Kranji's Mac Basketball saying, we are gathered here to celebrate a massive dub. Exactly. Exactly. Guys, this is a W. This is a win. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. This is a big hire. Could he fail? Yes, it can happen. Nothing is guaranteed, but this is a big, big hire. All right. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I will be dropping a USMNT Abroad teaser episode today or tomorrow. And then on Monday, we start the USMNT Abroad coverage every Monday, the weekend recap. And next week, I'll do a video breaking down how I think Mauricio Pochettino will set up the U.S. men's national team. I am happy. You should be happy. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Once again, I think hope has been restored. There's balance in the force. The force is with us. And I'm excited. I am truly excited. I'm looking forward to doing videos breaking this down, talking about this. And maybe Pochettino will be already the coach in September. Maybe we won't have an interim coach there. That's not confirmed yet. Maybe we will have an interim in September. Maybe we'll have Pochettino. I hope we have Pochettino. And that's all. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Drop a like before you go. Join our Patreon if you want. Have a great day. This is great news. Tremendous news. Lots of content coming up very soon. Stay subscribed. All right? See you guys soon. Ciao. Thank you, Rocco, for the super chat.